whenever it has death knocks at my door, I don't want to be dying of fear. I want to be going, laughing and smiling and bidding a goodbye and hey, I was here, I lived a good life and it's time for me to leave. If cancer had not happened, maybe this Manisha that you see me would be different.
Correct.
So I have a way of thanking even cancer. Sanjay already had the script.
Okay.
I was not his first choice. So he wanted Madhuri ji or Kajol.
Okay.
And I had said, listen, if these two don't do it, I'm going to do it. So you come to me, you don't go to anybody else.
Ma'am, thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to us today.
Most welcome.
I read your book recently, Healed. Congratulations on your debut as an author.
Thank you.
So, a couple of questions on the book. Something that really fascinated me, when you talked about sort of when you were diagnosed with cancer in 2012, you mentioned that you started questioning your life.
Right.
What you had done in life, what was the meaning of life. For us mortals outside, Manisha Koirala has achieved everything in life.
Right.
Fame, glamour, money, power, friends, family, everything. So, what was it? What was that? What did you feel like you didn't achieve at that point?
Well, basically, you see, I of course achieved a lot of name and adulation and all that.
Yeah.
But what happens is at least it's not the case with everybody, but I can only speak for myself.
Sure.
And what had happened was I was right out of my school when I got into movies. So when people were in colleges, I was actually working. So I was not, one is not really mature enough to understand and take it on the name and fame and all that. So after a point, I feel I had started taking it for granted, and then that was a huge reality check for me, and that was when I started realizing that, oh my God, that means my time is limited.
Sure.
I'm here for some time.
Sure.
Now this as a concept, one knows till it really is not your own personal experience, it just becomes a concept in your head. That when I faced it, and what happens with the cancer treatment is there's a long period of your treatment, and doctors do not tell you, they are not able to tell you whether after the end of the treatment you'll survive or not.
Sure.
So it's actually you live with the uncertainty of living or dying for a period of time.
Right.
And that for me was a huge, it shifted in the way I look at life, and a couple of things became very clear to me.
Sure.
A, that whenever it has death knocks at my door, I don't want to be dying of fear. I want to be going, laughing and smiling and bidding a goodbye and hey, I was here, I lived a good life and it's time for me to leave. So I want to go with dignity and joy rather than fear and all that. That I'm clear about. Secondly, as long as I have, I want to make the best use of this life.
Sure.
And I want to live fully. And I had to admit, I could not really portray to myself anymore that I had led a perfect life. Of course, my career was great, but personally, as Manisha, a person, I was too young when I got in. I was not trained for anything, and I have not been matured how to take into success, the adulation or paparazzi and yellow journalism or anything of that. I was too young, which was I was facing.
Yeah.
So it was not an easy. It may look to others, oh, she had an easy success, but it wasn't. One can. And I'm not the kind of person who have spoken a lot about my struggle.
Yeah.
Neither would I want to cash onto that.
Sure.
And get sympathy. I've never been that kind of a person.
Yeah.
But it's been tough, and one had to be on toes. At the same time, I was very lost because I was way young when I started getting success.
Right.
And I knew that I had to work hard, and I knew that I loved my job and I wanted to make it. But everything, every person, everything was very new to me.
Yeah.
So I stumbled and I fell and I had to pick myself up.
Right.
And, there was a time when I was falling and I didn't even realize I was falling so badly.
Sure.
Till cancer hit me. And cancer was like, whoa, that was a huge reality check.
Yeah. But you mentioned, you talked about the fear of death and how you sort of don't have that anymore, and you've accepted it as a reality. But one line, and I wrote this down in your book, that really struck me was, the day of your surgery, you thought of the headline, "Noted actor Manisha Koirala succumbs to cancer in New York." How do you transition from those thoughts to your thoughts today?
Oh, it took a while. It definitely took a while. I had thoughts of death when I was diagnosed. And because cancer, the moment one gets cancer, the first thing that comes in your head is death.
Sure.
And it is such a new thing in yourself because, again, I said, you see people closer to you, die, but you've really not comprehended your own death. It's impossible to do it.
Sure.
But it took time.
Yeah.
It took time.
Yeah.
What I did realize that what is not okay for me is to be desperate and not able to say goodbye. When the time comes, I should be able to say goodbye with dignity.
Right. You also mentioned in the book, you talk about letting go of regrets.
Right.
And guilt and sort of moving beyond that.
Right.
Is that really practical? Have you been able to do that when you look back at your career graph, any regrets that you may have in the industry?
Of course, we are human beings and we do err, and I'm totally flawed. So I have done mistakes.
Yeah.
And how can I not have regrets?
Right.
But at the same time, do I want to dwell in the regrets? There is another angle to it, that if something sad and shocking as if cancer had not happened, maybe this Manisha that you see me would be different.
Correct.
So I have a way of thanking even cancer.
Right.
I have to say I'm grateful for that experience. So at least I am where I am today.
That takes a very big heart to be grateful to cancer.
Yes.
You've really gone through that process. So.
Yeah. That's the reason. Because I see whatever happens for the best. At least for me, it has worked. I speak only for myself.
Right. I never took cancer. I mean, I obviously took it seriously, but I think there was a part in your book where it just sort of pricked me, if I can just read it out. You were talking about the spirit, and you said, not too long back it soared. It now lies defeated and punctured, trapped within your physical boundaries, enslaved to a bed. What is that like? It's hard to even imagine something like that. Reading it made me queasy. I mean,
yeah. So it's basically that whole thing that that whole spirit of when you're on a high, when you're doing really well, and the whole world is applauding you, then you feel that you arrived and this is it, and this is going to stay permanently, and I'm it. And your ego is at the top.
Right.
It's pushed you at the thing, but suddenly you realize reality happens, life happens, and you're so helpless. You're so helpless. You can't even lift anything.
I had a chance, we were talking about to work with Mr. Viduvino Chopra closely, and he was always all praise for you. 1942 is of course a beautiful film. But for you, what have been the one or two roles that have been the most cathartic for you, that have really transformed you?
Basically, honestly speaking, for me, good films and a good role actually happened.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if it really changed me or what, but I could relate to it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like when Vinod Chopra's 1942 happened,
right.
Ranju's character I could really relate to it. And when Khamoshi happened, I could relate to Annie's character as well. So Mani Ratnam's Bombay and Dilse and Mansoor Khan's
or even Lajja later on.
Lajja. I loved Lajja. What Lajja's whole film, the whole message was phenomenal.
I think every time I see the climax, I still sort of get the goosebumps. You work with so many female actors.
Yes.
Lanja being an example.
Yeah.
You work with Kajol in Gupt and Urmila in Hindustani.
Yeah.
What has that been like working? Because we always talk about rivalry and we hear things about rivalry, but is that all rumor?
I think one can take it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But one can't really deny it because we all are at the end of the day competitive, and we want to do better in our work, and so I guess it's part of that thing, and I think it's so human.
As you said, you look at life with a new perspective now. So what's left? What is there that you're craving? It's just I have to get this done before.
Oh, the thing is, as I don't have many plans.
Yeah.
I don't like to have many plans.
Sure.
But there are a few things that I would love to do, and among them is work with good directors and good cinema, because I love my work.
Yeah.
I really missed when there was a break I had taken. So more movies. I love traveling.
Yeah.
And so more places to see, more people to talk to, more cultures to know. I love hiking. I went to Everest Base Camp a few months back this year in April. So
and you were climbing the floors of your building to get the practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I live on the 14th floor, and so I used to do, I think 14th floor maybe 20 times.
Yeah.
So I realized, I overtrained.
Yeah.
I didn't really need to do that,
right.
but it was good. It was fun training. It was fun going there with my school friends.
Yeah.
I feel we really have to understand a couple of things. I mean, at least for me, that has worked. And is that one aspect of me wants to fulfill what my heart desires, and there are a list of things that I really want to do.
Sure.
And also, because I realize that we human beings are interconnected and intertwined, and our joys and sorrows also are interconnected and intertwined. So it's kind of when we are helpful and useful to others, it's kind of comes to us as well.
Sure.
And so I like to be useful in any society that I work for. So a huge part of my time goes in being useful.
There's something I've always wanted to ask you. We know how the world felt when they saw Ladki Ko Dekha to Aisa Laga. How did you honestly feel when you saw yourself in that song? And do you still watch it today?
Sometimes.
Okay.
But I'm not a person who likes to watch my movies or my jo ho gaya so ho gaya, and people have loved it. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Right.
I'm that kind of a person.
Right.
And sometimes I could relish it, and I see my family relishing it, and so I sit enjoying it.
Yeah.
I had a great team.
Yeah.
Vinod Chopra and Vinod Pradhan.
Yeah.
And then, Farah.
Yeah.
That she was Sanjay.
Sanjay, of course.
And that time, Vinod's first wife, Renu, she was also in our whole gang of people that we were close to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the whole unit was so inspired and was so wanting to work together.
And that's where the seeds of Khamoshi were sown as well, right?
Absolutely. I think Sanjay already had the script, I think.
Okay.
And towards the end of the movie, I had read the script.
Okay.
And then I was not his first choice. So he wanted Madhuri Ji or Kajol.
Okay.
And I had said, listen, if these two don't do it, I'm going to do it. So you come to me, you don't go to anybody else. And luckily for me, and because he was a newcomer and he was a new director,
right.
So they didn't, and I had read the script,
right.
And I got to do the movie. So
that's still regarded as one of his finest works.
I think so.
Despite all of the big budget films that came afterwards.
Yeah.
There was something about them that just...
Yes. So it was fun working.
You talked about finding meaning in life. How do you find meaning? Where do you find meaning?
It all up to you. It's your choice, it's your life, and it's your take. So for me, it was important to find meaning. For me, because I needed to understand and comprehend what all has happened and how do I want to take it forward. So I started seeing, okay, what are the things that I enjoy doing, I love doing. And so I started putting all those things in the category. What are the things that I should really avoid? You know, what are the things which doesn't give me joy, doesn't give me happiness, I'm uncomfortable, what are the, you know, so I started putting that into space.
Right.
Meaning is not out there, meaning is right here. You have to give meaning to your life.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's not out there. It's, you need to.
Because we tend to think, what's going to drive me? What's going to motivate me? Where do I find meaning? Where do I find meaning? But
you need to find inside what gives you joy. You need to navigate inside you.
Yeah.
Rather than outside. You
Right.
know, of course, I mean, it's interlinked and intertwined again.
Sure.
But you need to always navigate, shut your eyes and navigate. Is this giving me joy?
Excellent. Thank you so much for giving your time.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
And I have one quick request for you. So I have this audio cassette I would love to put on it.
Okay. You still have an audio cassette.
It's my, well, I was debating, I said, should I bring this one or should I bring Dil Se? But I like this album better, so I said.
Okay, how do I, on top?
Yeah, you could just, sign on it.